now I'm 53 years old and just trying to stay relevant for Gen Z. So when you combine experience with knowledge, now you've got a winning long-term transformational experience.
Children were generally, more active, spending much more time outdoors. Kids today are more likely, to engage in active activities. And of course, screen time for children has nearly doubled in the past decade.
The disruption of the screens, we could manage them better. And we have to, because the consequences are showing themselves. It's dire.
And I also look at my friends' kids, and I'm very shocked because they don't want to do anything.
The most horrific consequence I see today.
This is very actually scary.
Christy Swaid, a powerhouse changemaker and the visionary founder of Heal United.
From pioneering health education to creating transformative programs for underserved communities.
Christy's relentless mission is to redefine what it means to live a healthy, empowered life.
I saw an opportunity where these children could be exposed to daily education as related to healthy lifestyle choices. Suicide among young adults has grown 30% plus since 2018. And you say, well, golly, why? Why is it happening? Well, I think there's a lot of reasons, but
The Avenue of the Strongest is a podcast dedicated to exploring the lives and experiences of the most inspiring individuals from around the world. Each episode features interviews with fascinating guests who share their insights and wisdom on a variety of topics, including education, impact, motivation, health, and learning. Here are your hosts, Anayet Chowdhury and Vlad Suleiman.
Hi, Christy. Welcome to the show.
hey, Vlad, great to be here.
I wanted to start at the beginning and ask you what led you to pursue a career in kinesiology, and how has your understanding of body mechanics influenced your approach to health and wellness?
So I would say kinesiology crashed into me first. It became my way of paying the bills and raising money to pay for college tuition. So I learned in the School of Hard Knocks by firsthand experience, and then I was able to back that up with classroom knowledge, and the merge of the two is what is so powerful.
Mm-hmm. How long ago was it?
So when I was in high school, I played sports and I had to keep up with my brothers. I had two older brothers that were 4 and 5 years older than me. And my dad owned jet ski rentals. So when we spent the summer with our dad, the rule was I either keep up or I get left behind by myself. So I was either 90 to nothing or learning how to be independently happy, one extreme to the other. So sports were just part of our family lifestyle. We would entertain ourselves all day, every day, trading one physical activity for the next, and not realizing that that was the foundation that would launch a career, a very fruitful career for me in extreme sports on TV and film and television stunts, which was my launching pad into all kinds of directions of entrepreneurship. And so anyway, I love all things physical movement. I appreciate every athlete who goes for the impossible. It's really fun and inspiring to see.
Mm-hmm. So you as an expert in kinesiology, how do you see the role of the body movement science in creating healthier lifestyle? How does it work? What are the benefits?
Well, the truth is, health is the springboard and the foundation to success in every aspect of life. No matter what your career path is or isn't, your health will fuel your brain performance, academic performance, workforce readiness, and just your plain quality of life. Say you're a stay-at-home mom, which I find a very amazing vocation. It's very physical. There's nothing more exhausting than being mom, and there's nothing more rewarding too. So after winning 6 world championships in the sport of jet ski racing, I met the man that I wanted to have a family with, and we dated long distance from Alabama to Los Angeles for 2 years. And then it was a decision to make to fully retire, because my sport's only as good as your last performance. And the minute you don't make an audition, you're replaced, and it's that fast. So I made the intentional decision to fully retire, moved to Alabama, where I was a fish out of water, no pun intended, and reinvent myself. I will say that I follow my faith, which is Jesus Christ, and I believe that he led me to a place of reinvention where I kind of got stripped down to nothing and started over. I mean, I needed lessons on how to boil water. Like, I was not a professional domestic caregiver by any means, but my husband was really patient and loving and supportive. And I must say, back when I was racing, my mom she was my prayer partner. She always whispered in my ear, always remember the greater good. You serve a higher purpose than what's in front of you. And in that time of my life, the late 80s, early 90s, jet skis were exploding. We were on ESPN. Our ratings were competing with summer baseball. Go Dodgers. That was awesome last night. I don't know if you caught that last night. But anyway, we were getting great ratings, which meant great endorsements and all kinds of other opportunities. And my conviction to serve the greater good ended up being marine safety, because 1 out of 3 accidents on the waterway involved personal watercraft. So, you can imagine a person who's never really taken a lesson, they rent something, they got a handful of horsepower, and you can turn into a 360 without warning. I mean, it's a recipe for trouble. So the sport that I love, I went to advocate for and got certified on all levels of marine safety, and then I spoke all over the country on behalf of the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary to help promote boating safety among my peers. So fast forward to now, I'm landlocked. Well, Alabama has some beautiful lakes, and we also have coastal territory, but I didn't have the privilege of getting in the water every day like I was used to. So I did, though, have a wish to be a good wife to a good man. I wish to be a mom. And it was not easy to get pregnant. And in the waiting, I was observing children in my sphere of influence. And I noticed what the statistics were starting to show is, again, that 1 out of 3 were on the path of early disease. And what do I mean by that? Obesity. But that's one, because there are many thin kids that are on an early path of disease because they don't move effectively and they don't eat right. So what was most startling to me was the fact that 10-year-olds in Alabama and the South especially are being diagnosed with early stages of diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, all the chronic diseases that were traditionally only seen in adults, and they were being prescribed adult-strength medications. Like that's just so unacceptable. And I believed I had the answer and the solution based on my knowledge and experience in sports, learning the sciences such as heart rate, conditioning, and strength, flexibility, just all the good basics that lay that healthy foundation, and coupled with sensible nutrition, and built what I thought was the only a solution for a forum that was, to me, being mismanaged, and that would be physical education classroom setting in the public school system. I saw an opportunity where these children could be exposed to daily education as related to healthy lifestyle choices, but not just exposed to the information. They could be led to practice these things. So when you combine experience with knowledge, now you've got a winning long-term transformational experience.
This podcast is sponsored by ArgoPrep, an award-winning educational publisher serving over 1 million students nationwide. If you're a kindergarten to 8th grade teacher or principal, be sure to check out our supplementary workbooks to get your students ready for standardized state testing. We cover all subjects from kindergarten to 8th grade. Use the coupon code AVENUE for a 25% discount off of all purchase orders. Visit us today at argoprep.com/store.
Actually, you already touched a little bit about my next question. I have a statistics that, from 1970 to 1980s, children were generally, more active, spending much more time, their free time outdoors. By contrast, kids today are more likely, to engage in inactive activities. And of course, screen time for children has nearly doubled in the past decade. And also, actually, data reveals that childhood obesity, as you mentioned, tripled since 1980s.
Yes.
And of course, due to the reducing the physical activities, shifting dietary habits. So, from your perspective, why is it critical to start educating kids today on healthy habits early, and how can we adapt, the lessons from the past generations to promote healthier lifestyles today?
Thank you for the question, and all of your facts are spot on. And we live in a new culture now, and we have to adapt to it. I mean, talking about the good old days isn't going to fix what's really happening all around us. And in fact, my program that I founded, Heal United, started off as an elementary school age physical education curriculum that transforms PE into a measurable health and wellness experience for children. Well, it rolled out from early development now all the way K through 12, college, into the community and back again. So we've been at this more than 20 years, and we have evolved accordingly. And my teachers are those I serve. So to your point and to your question, like as we speak over here at a table just over here, is one of my sweet Gen Z team members who really helps us stay relevant. And we were laughing today because the other person sitting over there is my age. And we were like, oh yeah, back when we were kids, there was the boring thing called Atari, and only held my attention span for a little bit. And then I had to get back outside and play. And how did we entertain ourselves? It was, jump rope, double dutch, pickup games, scrap basketball, whatever we could get the whole neighborhood to agree to join up and do. We were nonstop outside playing. So I think that the disruption of the screens, which is a double-edged sword because you can't live without them anymore. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But we could manage them better, and we have to, because the consequences are showing themselves. It's dire. The most horrific consequence I see today, and these are just recent developments since, well, let's just put it this way. I'll give you some dates. I did some research. And since 2018, the mental health disparities have increased like, oh my gosh. So for example, suicide among young adults has grown 30% plus since 2018. And then also the mental anxiety, depression, and a sense of hopelessness also increased in similar percentages. And you say, well, golly, why? Why is it happening? Well, I think there's a lot of reasons, but I think we're all, especially during the pandemic, everyone was super traumatized. And so our personal distress, I know for me, I had a lot of layers of stress that were unbelievable. Like, aside from the pandemic, raising teenagers who are taking the standardized college entrance exams and applying for colleges and the whole rest of their life on the brink, they had to learn how to study on Zoom at home and stay engaged and stay with their momentum. While that happened, my mother died, who was my faith anchor. My father died, who was a coach of mine, and my actual racing coach died, in a sweeping tsunami. And I felt like I just couldn't dump all that pain on those around me. And everyone was in survival mode. So there was no really where to go with that. So I just tried to suppress it and dodge it, avoid it. And I called it myself, and I still do at that stage, a high-performing dead person. I was without joy. There was feelings of hopelessness. And I believe the Lord let me experience the valley, because in it now I can look at my audiences of young adults who I love so much, and I'm very attached to, because my sons are that age. So I get life through their eyes. And I think, wow, there's a third of this audience, whether they're smiling and performing or not, planning a suicide because of hopelessness. So you could be in a crowd but feel so alone because your feelings are not understood. Maybe because you just won't reveal them, or you don't feel safe to reveal them. But if I could leave this audience with anything to remember on this podcast, I really wish to tell anyone with those thoughts of hopelessness, definitely grab on to someone that, because believe it or not, even people who are struggling feel better when they get to help someone else who's struggling. And we all do better when we connect together. Please don't stay alone and isolated. Please reach out to somebody, because you'll find out that people care. And in that love and that connection, you'll see, oh, a glimpse of hope. And more importantly, you got to find your purpose, because when you have a target that's bigger than you, that gives you drive to get up and do the work to stay well yourself so that you could be good and strong for others.
You know, you touched the question about the suicide, and I remembered one podcast we took with Dr. Rutherford, and she was saying that in the next 5 to 10 years, this is very grim, projections. In the next 5 to 10 years, everybody will know somebody who did a suicide. That's crazy. I mean, I know several people actually who did it myself, and I'm not surprised that it's gonna be raising at a crucial speed. And I really love what you do about the educating kids about the healthier habits, the diet, the training, this and that. And I also look at my friends' kids, and I'm very shocked because they don't want to do anything.
Ooh.
Parents even paying them, they I have one friend who is paying her daughter to go to the gym to do, like some exercise or to do yoga or something. They paying them,
Yeah.
even though they're going with them together. And they have no desire to exercise, no desire for, to do some hobbies or something. I mean, this is very actually scary.
I know that when a person's spirit is broken and they just don't see purpose, they don't see future, then there isn't the drive to do the physical. So really getting your spiritual, emotional, mental line, working on those elements, it gives you the power to handle the physical. The physical is the last component.
How do you work on it?
So as a certified life coach, I actually got my life coaching credential through Loyola Marymount while in the grips of my own depression. It was an attempt to heal myself, and the thought of being, even healers need healing so that we can continue doing our work. And so it started off with my experience, and connected to the knowledge now, is connecting with people. Like for me, it was my prayer warrior, faith partner friends. I mean, when my mom was gone, there was that gaping hole. And I realized when she was alive, I called her every day. So I almost had, without realizing, a built-in therapist that I trusted, who would never use my deepest secrets against me. And that's why professional therapists are in high demand, and there are not enough out there. You really have to have a couple great confidants in your life that you can just be yourself with and know they love you in all circumstances. And if you don't feel like you have that, I encourage you to try a great church. Get into a youth group. You'll be surprised. You need a couple of good friends, and then you don't feel alone. But then go deeper in it. If you can get therapy, I recommend it. You can, I had to find my inner child again. She went far, far away while I was trying to manage everybody's serious problems. And I don't know if you heard about my recent stunt, but it was a result of me connecting with my inner child. I was able to do a backflip recently on my jet ski, but we'll talk about that later. But I do think that therapy did encourage me to, find the things that trigger joy. Now, joy is different than happiness. Happiness is circumstantial. You're either happy or you're not. Joy isn't. The Bible says that for the joy set before him, Christ endured the cross. Now, the cross represents shame, pain, betrayal, brutal torture. For the joy set before him, he endured all of that. What was the joy? The joy was that he was going to defeat sin and death, and he was going to provide a path of resurrection to anyone who would connect with him for all time. We have access to that. And that, to me, that's rejuvenating power. That his love, you can never be separated by the love of God found in Christ Jesus. That's what I believe. And in that, I feel like I have resurrection power to get up and out of the stuckness of depression and worse than that, despair and hopelessness. That's the dangerous thing. That's what, when you see someone who looks like that, grab them, hug them, include them in whatever you're doing, and then let the journey lead them to their purpose. Their purpose is what they'll endure hardships for. For the joy set before them, we can endure hard things. We got to find what triggers our joy.
That's a wonderful advice, and I love that you said find somebody who you can, hang out, speak with, and I think it's gonna be actually very nice advice, even more for boys than for girls, because I know boys, oh my God, they keep everything inside, even if they have friends, they are not, sharing their insights, their feelings, because especially in my culture, I mean, Asian culture, they think it's a shame, to share what you really feel, and they wait until the very end. And one of my closest friends, he was speaking with me with my other friends, like everything was fine, and he called everybody the day before he committed suicide, and nobody even could see it coming, not even parents.
Wow.
Everything was so nice, lean, beautiful, and he had hidden depression inside.
Yeah, that is so tragic, and I also feel that a man wants to be stronger than that. Some men even think that, oh, if I'm a real man, I'll pull the trigger.
Right.
What? Like you're stronger? No way. Be the guy that leads the younger generation to be able to talk and get out of that, because that's a quick decision that has irreversible consequences. We don't need to do that. Just
100%.
hang on, and grab someone's hand. Take that chance. I'd rather you be more vulnerable with a human being with the truth of your feelings than pull a trigger or something else.
Okay, let's move on to a little bit different direction now. I want to speak about how posture plays a crucial role in physical health, affecting everything from posture, affecting everything from from breathing to concentration. I'm specifically interested in that because my wife even developed a course for parents on teaching kids healthier posture habits and exercises. So do you also incorporate education on posture and foot health in your initiatives?
Yeah,
Or-
for sure. Well, we believe in it because it affects everything, and it's kind of like the architecture of a building. If the bones are straight and strong, then it can endure more stress, and it stands taller longer. So I think that aging and gravity and some of our pre-existing conditions, we have to constantly be working on those things. Every one of us has our strengths and our deficits. And so working on those weak spots is not fun or comfortable, but it really provides great benefits. So I'm really proud of your wife. I think that's wonderful, because there's not enough people dedicated to helping young people lay that solid foundation so they can enjoy the fullest life. But, we're talking about, it's a proprioception.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the spatial movement awareness. And I did some research on that, which goes back to early development, and it requires all the senses to be engaged. Even sight, smell, touch for sure. And when a baby actually begins to crawl or roll and gets to play with an adult, play is so critical for development. Like rolling a ball to a child, letting them grab it and stop it. different textures of balls. They can feel texture and squeeze. How about colors? So as a child throws a ball and they see it roll away, and then it comes back to them, these are those therapies that develop that sense of awareness in space. And it goes all the way to our senior adulthood if we can keep practicing these things and do strengthening, flexibility plus cardio, always keep that diet going. We can enjoy our later years in life without slumped over, posture, which is so typical of everyone in their screens and driving. And we always have this forward position that we want to try to pull our shoulders back and fight that. It's an ongoing process. It's a daily and a weekly intentional decision to work on those things. And they really do support quality of life, safety as we become seniors. That spatial awareness allows you to avoid the risk of falling and tripping. If you end up with myopathy because of diseases or neurological problems, therapies can help you sustain a better quality of life for longer. I think it's very important.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of diet, actually, nowadays I've been doing research and I found that nowadays 60% of kids don't meet their physical daily activity recommendations, and many of them consume, diets high in processed foods.
Ooh.
And of course, this leads to the issues like energy, low energy, the poor focus, and like depression and everything else. I think everything is connected to it. So what do you think, in your opinion, are some practical steps or programs maybe you have that can lead to better choice foods and physical health?
I'm a big believer in the 5 food groups. And, I think, again, just like feet, you were talking about foot health, everybody's feet require something else. We're all very individual. The rules are the same for everybody. Everyone who has a beating heart and breath in their lungs needs to, get in the target heart zone and sustain those minutes to get maximum health benefits, doing something physical that you enjoy doing. So I just touched 10 bases with one sentence about cardiovascular fitness. As it relates to, I want to talk about the foot thing again. So people with a really high arch, they have different needs than someone with a flat foot. So, your shoes, some people believe in barefoot walking. I just think it's very individual. I think you do have to, your body from your feet all the way up needs the right support for the alignment. And I think that sets you up for all the other strengths and fun physical activities that you can do. Because I really think the secret sauce is fun. You got to have a good time getting your physical activity.
Yeah.
The third component is the nutrition. I believe in balance. I think that we teach firmly, and we've filtered everything we know through every top PhD in their respective fields. And what we've landed on is the 5 food groups. Because from each food group, if you go with the leanest sorts of proteins, really good colorful vegetables, dark leafy lettuces and things, and fruit, dairy, and then your grains that have benefits, nutrient benefits, such as whole grains. Everything supports a different part of the body, and children need every resource for their growing, developing bodies. So in the Heal United program, we are so proud to say we've invented games that allow our elementary school age students to identify over 200 food items. They know what food group they fall in. They know what part of the body they support. And if they play this game, this My Plate game that we created, with a be careful basket, because we also never say never. We believe you can have a treat in moderation. We just want you to control your high levels of fat, sodium, and sugar. And then have fun and be creative and try to hit all your food groups, because it's almost like a multivitamin. It supports all the different functions of the human body.
When you work with schools, correct? With a lot of your clients are schools.
Oh,
So
210 Alabama schools, 45,000 children, 350 professional educators, and we also now have faith-based community partners for after-school care programs and things like that.
what are the first steps are you doing at school when you come to, to the group of kids? What are the first steps you use to inspire them to have, lifelong healthy habits?
I have a motto that I believe in wholeheartedly. It's necessity is the mother of invention. So when we first experimented putting heart rate monitors on elementary school age children in PE, and we built nutrition games that in PE, a PE teacher can actually have them running, shuttling, making food decisions without compromising moving. I mean, we built tools to empower PE teachers to take maximum advantage of that little time that they have a captive audience with these children. But then we learned that we have to back up a few steps. We've got to provide optimal professional development training for our teachers. So we wanted our teachers not just teaching, but role modeling, and we empower them, and we love them, and we support them in a personal way so that they're really good in a professional way. Now, so once we got that going strongly, and they're being very effective in the classroom, and the children are seeing results, and the spirit of bullying has been tampered down because we institute this thing called the Heal Hero campaign. So we promote children to support one another rather than compete with one another in PE. If they want to compete, they can join an after-school sport. But in PE, we can learn to love each other and support each other. And that's the spirit of our program. But thirdly, we had to engage the households. Because once the children are gone from our care, they're thrown into, who knows what. And so we thought, well, we better we call it heal at home, and we call it home plays instead of homework. So we give all kinds of clever ways of engaging household members into their newfound lifestyle. And ask me later, but I got to tell you all about this really cute Peppy the puppy that we just made.
Beautiful. I have a question. You actually touched also about the proprioception, and you gave examples on the activities for small kids. But what about the teenagers and adults? What activities can they do to improve the
Yes.
proprioception?
I'm in the same ballpark. Like, I've got so many injuries from all my extreme sports that I go to. I personally, I think Pilates is really powerful. I think I personally love hot yoga. I know we have to be careful with the word yoga in the school system, so we would say strengthening, stretching types of movements. All of that is essential for the posture, and I think that spatial awareness. I mean, you become more coordinated, more well balanced, and that's what that word represents. Even I'm like the culture in the South, dance is a very big deal in the South, and cheerleading, and then like the martial arts, for not. I mean, I'm just trying to include the guys in the conversation too. But Pilates and yoga is for co-ed. There is a lot of opportunity there that both genders can.
I mean, I'm doing yoga 3 times a week, so.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's not only for girls, so.
That's right.
No offense.
Yeah.
How your day looks like in terms of eating and dieting and exercising and sleep because sleep is also very crucial here.
Crucial.
What are your habits in this?
Yeah, it's that art of balance, and it's hard. And every day we're all going to struggle with one component or another, but we have to continue to strive to do what the body needs to thrive. So for me, a day in the life of, I get up pretty early every day. First thing I want to do is get my mindset. I have this little corner that I love, and I open up my Bible, and I read a little bit of a Devo, and I meditate, and I journal, and kind of get my intentions set for the day. Then downstairs in my gym, I have a home gym. I've got a machine that I love. I have the Peloton, which I think is super cool. And I actually love training with Allie Love. Allie, if you ever see this, I want to meet you. And then I also VersaClimb. And this is a beast of a machine. And it was essential for me winning all my championships. It requires so much power and cardio strength without any kind of physical impact. So imagine on a stand-up jet ski, you're getting pounded in choppy water with a wet, heavy helmet. You're doing, you're pulling in, pushing out. You're in deep knee bends, in and out of every corner. Every muscle in your body's firing. That means your heart rate is up above 80% to 100% max for an entire moto, like 12 laps. It's a long time for a really high heart rate. And so that machine has been stable for me through the seasons of life. While pregnant, I didn't ride it as hard. I was respectful of my new condition. Then post-pregnancies, and now I'm 53 years old and just trying to stay relevant for Gen Z, which is a really fun challenge. And so I get downstairs after my worship, and I continue worship. I turn on my worship music, and I climb. I call it a worship climb. And I get in a 20-minute cardio. So what happens with cardio is that it releases hormones that supports brain health and brain performance, and also helps regulate mood swings. So that cardio is the best medicine for mental performance. Coupled with your spatial awareness, cardio has a whole nother set of benefits, health-related benefits. After that, oh my gosh, I start digging through a gazillion emails. Then I have to say, okay, I can't do it all. What's priority? And then get to work.
I hate cardio.
What's your form of cardio?
I mean, usually twice a week I'm getting the HIIT class, and it's like every time it's different, and most of it is cardio. It's like half of the class, it's half an hour, it's just cardio with dumbbells. I mean, I'm just dying.
But don't you feel so awesome when you're done?
I am. That's why I'm already doing it 2 years every day nonstop. So
That's great. Well, and now I'm trying to get back into yoga because I really think that the heat and the extra few inches I get out of each posture, it just opens me up. It frees me up, and it reduces the pain I have from residual old injuries.
do you do cold plunge?
Ooh, oh, I got into that for a little while. I kind of got away from it, but maybe I need to revisit.
That's beautiful stuff.
Where do you cold plunge? In the ocean or a pool or a tank?
No, it's like a tank, yeah.
Oh, like a tank. Go to the ocean. Where do you live?
I used to live in New York. I mean, there I wasn't doing any cold plunge, but now I'm in Arizona. So
For some reason I thought you were in LA, but my son goes to Pepperdine. In fact, I was just a keynote speaker for their wellness culture called Rise, and they are so on top of it. What a beautiful program. Anyway, my son started a little cold plunge club, and because they learned about the dopamine hit that comes up after you suffer such a terrible shock. But he was going out and jumping in the winter Pacific Ocean. Ooh.
yeah, that's different. That's much harder than going to the tank. And of course, I mean, all inside there is no wind. Everything is cool and nice. Yeah.
Oh, it hurts. Doesn't matter what form.
Okay. That's been a wonderful conversation. I have 2 questions actually before we end. But before that, I would like to hear the story about your toy that you were showing me.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Okay. And I'm going to grab this book because Peppy goes with this book. You'll see Peppy on the front cover.
Yeah. Oh. Mhm.
And we designed, so Turning Frowns Upside Down. It was a project that I took on prior to me going through my terrible valley experience. And then while I was in there, I was under pressure to finish the book. And the book is all about mental health. And I felt completely not qualified. So I got a hold of Dr. John Rady. He's a world-renowned neuropsychiatrist, and a local PhD in psychology, Rebecca Kennedy. She's a director at UAB School of Medicine here, and they supported me. They said, the fact you're in the throes of this makes you very qualified, and we'll watch what you're doing and make sure everything's the way it should be. So together we completed that book, and in the sleep section, I learned something horrific, that in the footprint that I serve, or my program, Heal United, 70% of our footprint represents Title I schools, which are the poorest neighborhoods. And we're learning that there are many children who don't have a bed to sleep on. And some of them, no pillows and blankets in some situations. And they're transient. They get sent to different houses for different reasons. So for the sleep section, we decided we would, Peppy is a really soft, cuddly, glow-in-the-dark, ergonomic pillow. And Friend, because they actually associate a relationship with their security plush toys. And then we got this really cute blanket, which also glows in the dark. So the meaning behind that is that if it's dark and they're scared, they still have something that lit up for them. And then they can, wherever they have to travel to sleep, they can always take these two pieces with them. And it goes along with the story. So that was kind of our big push. We launched May of 24 on Heal Day. Governor Kay Ivey, our great governor of the state of Alabama, declared a statewide holiday after my nonprofit, Heal. And on Heal Day, we launched the Peppy Bundle. So anyone who wants a Peppy Bundle, you can get it online at healunited.org.
Wow, that's so awesome. Nice. How long did it took it to develop all this?
Probably a year and a half.
Not bad.
No, we were fast tracking it.
Yeah.
But, the time was of the essence. Kids were desperately needing resources and relief.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, Christy, we have a tradition on this podcast when at the end of every podcast, the previous guest get to ask the question the next guest.
Ooh.
So I have some guests from previous guests, and then I will ask you to give me a question to ask our next guest.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the question is, what is one thing you believe in that most people around you don't?
Maybe it's hard for people to trust that the Lord is listening. When you're suffering, you wonder if anyone hears your prayers. And I say that sympathetically because in my low point, I was wondering if all this faith in God, is he hearing me? But I think in that low point is where I discovered him. And in Matthew 5, he says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit," that he's near the brokenhearted, and he will heal the brokenhearted. So I hope more people would connect that way because they might find their greatest source of healing.
Thank you. So what is your question to our next guest?
I would like to know your next guest's secret to resilience. What is it in their life they draw from that gets them through the trials and tribulations that life's guaranteed to throw our way?
That's a very powerful and hard question. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful conversation, and thank you for coming to our show.
Thank you, Vlad. I appreciate the platform.